Hello again, everyone. It's Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the NautilusDryDocks.com, and you may see a familiar submarine sitting in front of me. This is take 2 of converting the Mobius flying sub kit to full RC operation. Before we get into it, I am going to head off a slurry of comments in this section because yes, this is not fully functional. It does not fly. You that commented on my earlier video, yes, you're very, very funny. This is fully operational in that it is a fully operational RC submarine that loves playing around in a swimming pool. This build is a little bit different than the previous one. We tried to make it a little bit more made for manufacturing because our idea was to be able to put out a conversion kit for this submarine. Now that is still in the works, but it may be a while. We've picked up a lot of work here, and unfortunately that means that this package has been pushed way down on the priority list because customer builds always come first here at the Dry Docks, and product development unfortunately is going to take a back seat. But in the meantime, we can tease you with what this looks like inside. So what we have here is the Mobius kit in 1/32 scale. You can get these kits online. They're really not that expensive. Beautiful kit and a really, really nice size. I'm going to pop this open here. And you can see what we got going on. So just a few highlights here. We're going to go kind of in reverse order. This is all the flotation foam that was required, unlike the first iteration, because we have a much larger watertight compartment in the middle that provides a lot more buoyancy. So I'm just going to remove these, which is super easy. And now we're taking a look at the drive system components. So much like before, we still have these 280 gallon per minute rule bilge pumps that are forcing water out the back of the boat. Unlike the previous iteration, we've actually got a different way of controlling the pitch, and it's a little bit more elegant than it was before. So if we take a look at the back there, you can see that I can control the pitch that those jets are ejecting water out of. So that's a manual override, but there's also an automatic pitch controller in here that automatically tries to maintain the proper pitch of the boat to keep it level. Everything is a little bit more elegant than things were before. It's a cleaner install. All of these parts have been standardized, so now we can supply them on a regular basis as opposed to doing custom manufacturing. But other than that, the setup is very similar. We've got big 10 millimeter high output LEDs blowing out the front of the boat there, and then a flashing LED in the back just to add some visual interest to the boat, make it a little bit easier to keep track of in the pool. Once these are removed, and these are just standard M3 brass standoff bolts, you got access to remove the entire center section and the thrusters. Everything comes disconnected, and the neat thing about this, these latex thrust pipes here simply come out, and so installation and removal is really, really easy. The tension just keeps it pushed up against the front there, I guess would be the back there, but removing everything is really easy without the need to undo connections or anything like that. So I want to show you just how quick and easy it is to extract the entire internal running gear from the boat. These have been loosened off. I'm just going to take these off by hand. These are our brass standoff nuts, and that holds these clamps, these bulkhead clamps, down on the sub. So taking those off, I'm going to disconnect the lighting lead from the back. I'm going to pull all of the receiver cable out, and this doubles as a test hose. And you've seen in my other videos, we use this all the time. The antenna is run through the interior and it's capped off. If you undo the cap, put that under water and blow into it, you can check for bubbles. And that'll tell you if you've got a leak in your boat. Just a quick note here too, we've got these plastic tabs on the top of the thrusters and the cylinder, and that will show you the correct orientation. We got an arrow pointing forward so you know which one that goes. Some notches here you line up these with. And then the other thing these do is they ensure alignment forward and back, so you always get your same center of balance or buoyancy in the boat. But now that those are off, we're just going to pull these out. And you can literally just grab everything here, disconnect our magnet, and now we've got all of the running gear right here. In the new versions of these cylinders, we're going to have these motors connected with a connector in the back as opposed to hardwired like they are right now. This is simpler, maybe a little bit more robust and reliable, but being able to disconnect the motors is beneficial. It's a little bit of a pain having to keep them all together, but nonetheless works really well. This leaves the interior. You can see everything is just super simple. There's our LED lighting lead. I'll grab that nut out of there. And the linkage for our tilting thrusters. Nothing to it. One thing that I will say after operating this boat is we elected to reduce the amount of flotation in the boat, as I mentioned before. So it has a smaller righting moment. And what I mean by that is in a statically stable submarine, it always wants to return to neutral, be it side to side, front to back, so pitch or roll. By reducing that, it makes it a little bit more fun to play with because you end up with some banking motion going on, and because these jets are so efficient, you can actually drive the boat into a complete roll, and it will right itself back up again. So driving it is a little bit more fun. It doesn't just kind of move around, like this. There is no independent control of these, although you could certainly rig that up with 2 servos inside, one for each side. Then you would have variable pitch on both sides. So you could, in theory, roll it about the center axis in like a barrel roll or that kind of thing. So lots of opportunities, but again, that's not set up in that manner in this particular case. Because this was set up for more standardization and a simpler install for people, we did not elect to go with camera in the front. There's not enough room in there. If you played around with some of these spacings, you may be able to make it happen. Little outside the scope of what we're doing here, so that is not incorporated into this build. But all in all, we're really happy with how this turned out. It's a really simple mechanical switch. It's a rubber boot on the back, and you just turn it off. And then to power everything back on, you just turn it back on again. High strength magnets hold the top down, and it's actually a pretty positive snap on there. It takes a little bit of wiggling to get the pins lined up on the inside. But once that's done, it's actually a nice firm connection. So no bolts, no screws, nothing like that you have to undo in order to get into the boat. Performance is actually really good. It's got a really decent amount of velocity owing to these big water jets that come out the back. If you follow my channel, I did post up a little while back some of our testing of this, and it'll spray water a good 10 or 15 feet out of our shop from our test tank, which was pretty fun to play around with. I will, however, say that despite my best efforts to improve the turning radius of this, I've canted in the jets about 5 degrees. Turning radius is not stupendous. It still needs about 5 feet to turn around. That could probably be adjusted by canting these out a little bit further so that when the one side kicks on, you get more of this spinning moment. But this is still a ton of fun to drive. As you'll see in the video coming up here, I had a blast operating this in the swimming pool. Even though it didn't have a great turning radius, my pool's not massive, it was still a lot of fun to operate. And doing those barrel rolls, just a ton of fun. Now, if you're interested in the conversion kit, as I said right now, I do not have full instructions for this rigged up. In order to do a proper conversion kit, you need step-by-step instructions on how to put it together. If you want to undertake that build just with a pile of components and rigging all that up yourself, we will be creating a product package for that, but our support is going to be very limited on that. I'm doing it kind of as a favor because I'm uncomfortable releasing it without those full instructions. You're going to be on your own for installation, but based on what you saw here, it's pretty simple. It should be easy to do. Take a look for it in my website. It'll be under the starter kit package. So with that, we are going to let you go. Appreciate you checking us out. If you do like what you see here, like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. If you have questions or comments, feel free to drop one in this video, but I don't check it that often. The fastest way to get a hold of me, just pop me an email, bob@nautilusdrydocks.com. With that, we're going to let you go. You have a great day, and we will catch you next time.